And the reason is the mask is available to everybody today. The vaccine is not.
State leaders are warning not to let up on COVID-19 safety measures as a second vaccine is approved for emergency use. Their message as the holidays approach. And a live look from Washington as Congress avoids a government shutdown, but they're not done yet. Coming up, the stimulus talks that continue on Capitol Hill. Plus, mail trouble for the Postal Service, why your last-minute gifts might not make it in time for Christmas. These stories and more are coming up on WDSU.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WDSU News This Morning.
The time is 8:30, and as you take a live look outside, it is slightly warmer this Saturday morning. The sun might be out now, but not for long. Good morning, I'm Morgan Lentis, and thanks for waking up with us here on WDSU. Now, before we get your headlines, let's talk to meteorologist Damon Singleton. And rain is moving in later today, right?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, it's not just rain. It looks like there'll be periods when we'll have some pretty heavy rainfall, maybe some thunderstorm activity as well. But that's going to hold off until, you know, late afternoon and evening. Right now, it looks great across most of southeast Louisiana. The radar picture is nice and clear, and for most of the day, it's going to be that way. The winds are blowing anywhere from 5 to 15 miles per hour, generally out of the east. Temperatures across the North Shore, mostly in the mid to upper 40s, but Bogalusa, you're still at 39 degrees, and down here on the South Shore, we're in the low to mid 50s. And here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. I'm thinking our temperatures are going to get into the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. Then, as you can see, the rain chances go way up as we get to 5 and 6 p.m. By 9 p.m., about a 90, you know, I ought to just put a 100% chance of rainfall tonight. And then some better conditions will be with us tomorrow. When I come back, I'm going to tell you about that.
All right, Damon, thank you. And new into the WDSU newsroom this morning, St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's deputies are investigating a deadly crash in Pearl River. They say a 2004 Chevrolet Colorado truck with Mississippi plates was traveling eastbound on Howard O'Berry Road last night when the driver failed to make a turn onto Lester Road and crashed into several trees. Now, the driver and the passenger were taken to the hospital. The passenger later died. The victim's identity has not been released yet. And breaking overnight, a murder investigation is underway here in New Orleans. It happened around 10:30 last night in the 7th District, which is New Orleans East. Police say a man showed up to the hospital after he had been shot multiple times. He later died. If you have any information that can help investigators, call Crime Stoppers at 822-1111. And this morning, the U.S. continues to set more grim records for new COVID-19 infections and deaths. More than 249,000 new cases were added Friday, according to a count from Johns Hopkins University. Now, that marks the highest single-day report of new cases in the country since this pandemic started. And it comes as for the second time in a week, the FDA has approved a COVID-19 vaccine for nationwide use. Matt Pritchard is live in Washington. And Matt, what can you tell us about this new shot?
Morgan, Moderna developed this vaccine and says that they have 5.9 million doses ready to roll out this weekend. Now, the shot is said to be 94% effective in preventing the symptoms of COVID-19 and is easier to store at hospitals since it doesn't need to be kept at ultra-freezing temperatures like Pfizer's vaccine does. Emergency use authorization for Moderna's shot comes at a critical moment. As you mentioned, cases are soaring nationwide with an average of 216,000 per day and deaths hitting all-time highs with 3,600 on Wednesday alone. Now, health experts say every vaccine approved is a step closer to ending the pandemic.
We won't start seeing this impact until we start reaching maybe April, March, April. We'll see a little bit of impact, but it's still a great Christmas present, and it allows us to see, as everyone is saying, the light at the end of the tunnel.
And in the first 3 months of 2021, Moderna expects to have between 85 and 100 million doses of their vaccine available here in the United States. Morgan, back to you.
Matt Pritchard live for us in Washington this morning. Matt, thank you. Now, both Moderna and Pfizer's vaccines require 2 doses several weeks apart, and the second shot must come from the same company as the first. And here at home, Governor John Bel Edwards says we could see that Moderna vaccine in Louisiana and ready for distribution by the week after Christmas. And it can't come soon enough. The state could reach 7,000 COVID-19 deaths in the coming days. And just yesterday, the State Department of Health reported 30 new deaths and more than 3,000 new cases. Hospitalizations were slightly down, but they are still very high across the state. And that is why the governor, along with local and national leaders, are urging Americans to just stay home for Christmas. Globally, tens of millions are expected to travel for family gatherings over the holiday, and experts worry that could turn into a super spreader event as we still deal with the aftermath of Thanksgiving.
What I'm concerned about, and we saw this across the country and in Louisiana before Thanksgiving, is that people believe they can test their way into a normal Christmas experience. You cannot. And so I'm encouraging people not to engage in that. It is not helpful. And in fact, we know that there were serious spread and outbreaks in gatherings where people really believed it was safe because they had tested.
And Governor Edwards says in the first 17 days of December, the state administered more than 500,000 COVID-19 tests. Now, that's a record. WDSU's Sherman Dossell has more on the governor's message to all of us to stay vigilant.
While we want to focus on the vaccine is not the most effective tool for us today. The most effective tool for us today is the mask.
Strong words from Governor John Bel Edwards, urging residents to be vigilant heading into Christmas. This as the number of COVID hospitalizations are at its highest since the summer, putting a strain on healthcare workers.
These ladies and these men are tired, y'all. They've been doing this since March.
And health officials are also echoing Governor Edwards' plea.
Ask yourselves, ask your parents, ask your grandparents, ask your kids, what's more important right now, this Christmas or next Christmas?
Although FDA-approved vaccinations are beginning to roll out in our communities, another spike in cases could put a damper on the progress, according to the governor. And as businesses make an effort to make a profit in the holiday quarter, Edwards makes his stance pretty clear.
If you're out there and you're running a business and you want it to be safe and you want people to feel comfortable going into your business, you need to embrace the mask mandate.
Sherman Dossell, WDSU News.
And the Department of Health will continue COVID-19 testing in Southeast Louisiana next week. So take a look at your screen. You can get tested at the Ilario Center, UNO Lakefront, or the Mahalia Jackson Theater from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And there will also be testing sites on the North Shore at the locations on your screen. That includes Tangipahoa and Washington parishes at the parish health units. Now, testing will pause at all locations from Christmas Eve to the day after Christmas. Also, if you need a flu shot, the city of New Orleans is teaming up with the Mystic crew of Femme Fatale to make that happen today. So the free drive-through flu shot event is happening today at Joe Brown Park from 9 to 3 p.m. This is part of a bigger effort to test plans for a future large-scale COVID-19 vaccine distribution.